Alo, aloha. First, it looks like my audio's good.
Hey y'all, it's Royce. And due to a lot of recent occurrences that include lies, fabrications, false accusations, threats, etc., I realized that it's about that time for me to tell my story from the beginning to now. Unfortunately, someone keeps calling my bluff. And when you're an ant fighting an elephant, the only way to eat an elephant is bite by bite. Therefore, I want to let you know that I am a true Cancer zodiac. I told you to leave me alone. I told you not to fuck with me. Yet you still do. So, because of that, I am not Michelle Obama. When they take it low, I do not take it high.
Aha, she is not playing. I'm not sure what to do with my audio. Like, have to keep pressing that because I feel like it sounds better when I have my mic on mute when the background is playing. So that's just me. But yeah, it sounds like she's not playing. Let me know if the audio sounds better if I mute like my actual mic, okay?
I take it to hell. And now, you're gonna get what you asked for. I had a baby by Superman, and here's his fucking kryptonite.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, that's a good introduction. Again, that's the first video, so we're gonna get to like part one. I believe this is part one, so we're gonna go through everything. So it's gonna be a long one, but I'm ready for it. I have to keep this commitment. I keep saying I'm gonna do something, and I end up not doing it because I don't like it. I changed my mind, but since I'm gonna do this, let's do this whole video, okay?
Hey y'all, I'm Royce. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm gonna get this out. So, this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now. All because I had a baby by Superman. Part 1. July 31st, 2004,
So 2004, that makes it what, 21. So we can assume that her child is at least 21 years old, right?
at the movies at downtown Disney with 2 of my friends. When 3 male figures walk in, one looking to be about an inch away from being a midget, the other very skinny, and he had a bad acne problem.
Yo, she's not playing. Yo, she came she came through like gun blazing, man. Oh, this is gonna be good.
And another one who is extremely tall. As they come over to the concession stand, we are greeted with, "Y'all in my book." Our response was, "What book?" He goes, "My yearbook." I then respond, "No, sweetie, I'm grown." He goes, "No, my magic book. Y'all used to dance with the magic." Oh, yes. He's like, "I'm the rookie." Oh, hey. That's how that went, okay? And he was talking about, oh, y'all not dancing this year, that we left them with the Lion King. Like, it was a bunch of niceties and goofiness, and that was it. He still had braces. It was nothing. So we go to see The Notebook, and they go to see something that I used to think was Transformers, but it was something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe iRobot. I don't know. Anyway, about 10-20 minutes into our movie, I go to the bathroom because I am now in a full-blown argument with my then boyfriend, who is breaking up with me because he is swearing that I'm at the movies with a dude. Obviously, I am not, but he was very insecure, and it was just an ongoing thing with us. So we broke up that day, and I was devastated because, what? I got dumped. Anyway. Walk out the bathroom, and Superman is sitting there on the bench. And he goes, "No one should ever make you cry like that."
Superman is Dwight Howard. So just in case anyone doesn't know.
Okay, thank you. And he's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm young, but like, no man should ever make you feel like that. He had braces. So I'm like, again, thank you. And I go on about my business and I go back to the movie. And I'm in the movie doing all of this, of course, on my little aim, my little sidekick. But by the end of the movie, I'm just kind of over it. So we're walking out the theater and they're leaning on the car like they're in Boys in the Hood. So we're walking across the street and his cousin comes up to me, which is the one with the acne problem. And he goes, hey, you know, my cousin trying to holler at you. And I was like, well, why is your cousin not over here? So he calls him over. And yes, we exchanged numbers. And yes, it probably was because, not even probably, it was because I was trying to make my now ex jealous. It is what it is. I was 24, whatever. So his first text to me.
Okay, I have to make sure I don't like accidentally start from the beginning again. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's see where this goes.
He was, hey, this is real name, the tall guy. So if you've ever seen me put TG on something or...
Was Dwight Howard in the NBA in 2004? Let me take a look.
Like heard about that nickname, that's where that came from. So anyway, fast forward, 2 months go by and I have not gone out with him. I haven't really said too much to him outside of like AIM and, you know, T-mail. So I was just being an asshole. Well, realizing that my relationship is now over for real. My dad is like, well, why not just go and like hang out? You know, he's like, you don't have to like do anything. He's like, but just hang out. You know, have like some male companionship. Not like that, but just someone to hang out with and have fun that enjoys doing like goofy shit like me. Right? So we decide that we're going to go to the movies at Festival Bay, which is now changed names probably like 20 times. But we go to those movies.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it looks like in 2004, let's say he chose to forgo college, entered the 2004 NBA draft, and was selected first overall by the Orlando Magic. Okay. So again, at that time, I'm not sure exactly what month it is, but we get the point. So 2004 is when she got pregnant. So
these, and I'll never forget this day because this is when I felt the shift. But it was a man and his son. And the son ran up to me and was like, oh my God, you're a magic dancer. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I am. That never happens, y'all. People don't know the magic dancers here. Like, no, for real. People don't know the magic dancers at all. So I was like taken aback and he asked if he could take a picture. He pulls out a real camera and he takes a picture. After that day, there was a shift. I started getting invited to promos, to fashion shows, to theme parks, like, you know, team events. I was everywhere. And I had stated a few times that I was thinking about going back to dance. And he was against it. So I did a brand ambassador tour with Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper, came back, and I said, I've made up my mind. Like, I'm doing this. And was he being supportive of things that I was doing? Yes. He was at the fashion shows that I did with Gaucher. Yes, that Gaucher. Hey, girl. He was coming to my parties. I mean, he was around. So I'm not going to say like he wasn't doing anything. He was. But I wanted my career. I went back. The team took me back, knowing what our history was. I danced that year. The next year I said I wanted to go to Miami. I said I wanted to dance for the Heat. That was my dream team, either there or the Dallas Cowboys. And both of those he was completely against, and I had no idea why. He would offer like our suggestions for other teams, but never those two. Just completely against anything in Texas and Miami. Now you'll know why. I
know why.
Audition for the team. I make it. Yay me. And after a couple weeks, there's a couple girls that are just treating me weird, and I didn't know why. Well, I ended up finding out that he had cheated on me with one of my teammates who used to live in Texas, but now was coming to the Heat And he had been trying to get both of us to not say anything. Anyway, broke up with him and was trying to live my best life, y'all. Really was, right? And
I wonder what that entails. So now it looks like we're moving from like January 2007 to April. I love how she breaks the story down with like giving us this roadmap, right? And giving us just a time frame. Okay, that's pretty good. So she's not playing. So she can't. She woke up and chose violence.
Ended up getting in an argument with one of my best friends on the team that you all know as Super Black Girl, Tracy. Got in an argument with her, so I was suspended for 2 weeks. So I went to Mexico with my DJ friend. And
what is the backstory with that of her being suspended? Is that something popular?
We had time of our life, whatever, came back and my phone is blowing up. My little sidekick. And it's him. And I'm asking for advice from my DJ friend and he's like, hey, just go and talk to him. Just see what he got to say. You know, just hear him out. Like, maybe he really is sorry. Okay. I go to the hotel. And at first he wasn't in there. Because he was at, like, team meetings. But then he comes in. And we're in there and we're talking. And he's pleading his case and asking for forgiveness. Talking about how much he loves me. And that he'll never do it again. That I'm the one for him. I'm perfect this, perfect that. All these things, y'all. And I said I would think about it. I said, you know, I'll talk to you later. So I walked to the room, or I walked to the door. And he pulls me back with my arm. And he's like, well, can I at least have a hug?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is the hug going to lead to?
Sure. That hug turned into kissing and touching, and
it turned into just a tip.
And
I'm guessing.
Our child being conceived.
Oh no.
I did
not. Okay. For just a hug to just a tip. I get it. So
I know I was pregnant until about a little over a month later when I was in practice, and one of the dancers who, funny story, ended up marrying the head coach of, that's not important, sorry. So after practice, I go to Walgreens and
so I didn't skip that. She did. So it looks like she went on a tangent real quick and she came back. So that's good.
Buy a pregnancy test and I take it home, take the test, call my brothers and girlfriend, wait for the results. And when I see them, I start bawling. I literally lost it. I saw my entire career just disappear. And I was devastated. I called my mom in the same state of mind. She's losing it. She's freaking out until I finally tell her, like, I'm pregnant. She goes, oh, I thought you killed somebody.
Okay. So when I said earlier, the baby, the kid should be 21 years old, right? I guess I'm not wrong. She's saying April 8th, 2007 is wrong. So it should be August 2004 or so, right? So again, there's a little message she left here. So just in case anyone's a little bit confused, because I was thinking like, wait a minute. I guess I was off with the age, but no, it's actually 2004, not 2007.
That's how hard I was crying. She asked me if I had told him, and I said, I've been texting him. I've been texting his cousin. I've been texting his best friend, and nobody was responding. And I said, Mom, I cannot be a mother. And I said, please help me. Like, I cannot be a mom. I'm not ready to be a mother. And she was like, well, you're going to have to tell your dad. So for 2 days, I waited for a response. And when I finally got one, the response was, I was asleep. I responded, for 2 days, you just played a game in Milwaukee last night. And then he responded, I thought you were on birth control. Hey, y'all. I'm Royce. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm going to get this out. So this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now.
Okay, so that's part 2. Good. So that's out the way. That's not too bad. I guess continuing continuation of part 2. Okay, so
Hey y'all, it's Royce.
perfect.
And this is my story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 2. We left off with, I thought you were on birth control. I'd like for it to be noted that I had not been on birth control our entire relationship. He was very aware, and also as to why he was not against it. Also, I'd like for it to be noted that there was no attempt to pull out that particular day, whereas in the past, he would move so fast that he would run into the dresser drawers. So let's continue.
What? What is that? I don't understand that part. Does anyone understand? If you do, leave a comment. So I cannot rewind it. So that's what kind of sucks about like doing the Instagram like reaction.
About a week went on and there was a little bit of communication, and the communication was regarding terminating the pregnancy. I was told that he would help me. I just needed to get to Orlando and we would do it there. I said, okay, not a problem. Just know it has to be a quick turnaround because I have to get back to work and I can't let my parents know. Please understand, I had no idea how abortions worked at all. So I'm thinking that I could just get up and turn around. Anyway, communication ceased again. Now I'm having to talk to my parents. I talked to my mom again. She was adamant about me telling my dad. So I told my dad, and my dad was like, huh? And I'm like, huh, what? He goes, all right. And I said, well, I don't want you to worry because I'm not going to keep the baby. I'm going to terminate the pregnancy, and then I'm going to finish the season out. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to fulfill this contract that I got with Treasure Island. Like, I had all these plans, and I was going to pursue my career. And he was like, no. He was like, you're going to have to put that on hold. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, you were woman enough to lay down. You're going to be woman enough to keep this baby. Now, back then, it wasn't a decision that was just easily made where you could just go to a clinic.
Okay, so Sassy Girl, and again, sorry, Sassy Girl, the software that I'm using to do this, like my stream, it's very good, but I don't know why the comments is not showing. But I'm able to see your comments like on my phone. Sassy Girl says she was fired this year as head cheerleader coach, right? Cheerleading coach, because she wasn't doing her job properly. Again, based on what she's telling, it looks like she was going through a big roller coaster of like different emotions at that time. So I get it.
Okay. It was also extremely expensive, especially for someone who was dancing on basketball courts in booty shorts and a half top. So my mom did not give me the money, and I was now stuck. And I was asking friends. I was trying to just figure out anything I could do. It even got to the point where I was drinking magnesium citrate, or I was trying to use a hanger. It was bad. It was bad.
Again, try not to judge. She has a little smirk in her face. I don't know. I don't know. But again, such a long time ago, but she's probably in a different place in her life now that everything is just like take it with a grain of salt, right?
But when I went to the doctor and I heard the heartbeat, that is when things were put into a bigger perspective.
That's what a lot of women say is like when they see the ultrasound or they hear that first heartbeat, that's when that's it. It's done. There's not going to be any abortion going on at that time.
I don't know what it is, but when you hear that heartbeat, it changes you.
Voila. See?
And I knew then that I was going to be a mom. And so now it's time to tell Superman that he is having a baby. And as you can imagine, that message was not received well. And I was met with a bunch of, oh, you're tarnishing my image. You're ruining my career. I'm a Christian. What I look like having a baby. And I'm trying to put the cross on the NBA logo. How could you?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the thing I always kill me about religious people, right? It's like when you're doing fornication, right? Or you're doing like the act of sex, right? Before marriage, right? There's none of that. There's no like, oh yeah, this is a sin, etc. But it's when a pregnancy occurred. That's when it's like, oh, I cannot do this now.
You do this to me. You're a
Sad
gold
but
digger.
true.
Oh yeah, I was hit with everything, y'all. Like I didn't have a career. But because none of those changed my mind, he then hits me with, and I have a girlfriend. Okay.
What? Oh yeah, they did break up. So it's not like they were still dating when. Okay, got it.
I've always had a girlfriend.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay. So now I'm realizing, y'all, that not only is this person a completely different person than I thought he was, but I've realized that he is a master manipulator and he will do any and everything to get exactly what he wants. I didn't fall for it. And because I didn't fall for it, I was then met with hell on earth. When I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant, I was asked to attend a meeting at a restaurant right around the corner from my townhome. I agreed to it, and when I got there, one of the first things said to me was, "You don't look pregnant." I said, "Thank you." They said, "No, because you have your belly ring in still." Mind you, I had already had this conversation before about wearing a belly ring while I was pregnant. I just liked it. But then they said that it just looks like you're poking your stomach out. Why?
That's the thing about us, man. Listen, you got someone pregnant that you don't know. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? It's like we have to start taking responsibilities for some of the stuff that we do, like getting a woman pregnant while having a girlfriend. That's wrong, right? And not knowing that person, and then you going straight in with no like scuba gear. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Again, I'm not. Just a disclaimer: I don't have any sides because there's her side, his side, and the truth is between, right? So I'm not trying to pick any side, but it's like he's being judgmental now, but got her pregnant, not knowing her. If he would have known her and say, okay, this is how she behaved, maybe he would have decided better. Like, okay, this is the person I want to get, like, have a kid with. But adios meals.
Am I here? Like, what the fuck y'all got going on? What do you want? Right? We sit down, and in this meeting is his manager, his cousin, himself. I am then offered money.
Yeah, Sassy Girl said, my apologies, right? She was fired May 2024. Sassy Girl, I think her dates that she has on the screen is wrong. I'm a little bit confused. Oh, she was fired 2024, not 2004. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. She was she was fired. Her cheerleading coach. She's still doing cheerleading 2024. Huh, interesting. I've seen her picture around, right? But I never like bothered to like see who she is. So this is the first I'm actually listening to her.
I'm asking what the money is for. I'm thinking that maybe it's to help me with my pregnancy. No. I was asked to move away and say that this baby was not his. Twice. I declined. They got angry. I was then approached by the team office and they wanted me to come in and have a sit-down conversation and do a prenatal paternity test. My doctor said absolutely not. Therefore, I said no, it was dangerous. And once the baby came, I was not opposed to doing so. For the next couple months, I got ready for a baby shower. I got ready with my baby registry. And every time I did anything, I was met with false accusations. I was threatened with the baby registry. I was told to take his name off of there. And I did. For the baby shower invitations, I was told to take the name off of there. So I did. But I still was getting threatened. I was still receiving anonymous messages on MySpace and Twitter. And I didn't know what to do.
The MySpace age. I miss MySpace. I miss, what is it, like top 6? Yeah, I kind of miss that a lot.
Around.
Yeah, Sassy Girl said, I think she was still teaching the cheerleaders routine, not actually cheerleading. Got it. Okay, got it. Thanks for the clarification, sassy girl.
Early November, I started having really bad complications with my pregnancy, and I was put on bed rest. I didn't listen, but I was put on bed rest. As hard as it was to sit still, it was something that I knew I needed to do because I could tell something was wrong. On November 16th, I had a doctor's appointment, and my doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital, and they need to put you on a monitor. Stop letting them tell you that you're dehydrated. I said, okay, cool. We go to the hospital. They still don't put me on the monitor, and I'm just over it, and I go home. Around 3:33 that next morning, November 16th, I woke up to excruciating pain. I threw something down the stairs. My brother came up, who had been staying with me. I told him I needed to go to the hospital. We go to the hospital. They finally put me on a monitor, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're having contractions for real. No shit. They say that they're going to admit me. I said, until how long? They said, until you have this baby. Oh, cool. Tell my mom everything. This is also during Classic Weekend. 54 and a half hours, I was in labor, and my child was...
Sassy girl, have you watched everything? Have you watched the whole like a whole story?
Delivered via C-section. They knew the day that I went into the hospital. They knew the complications I was having. They knew that the child's heart rate had been dropping, and not one person cared. Not one person responded to that at all. But when they found out that the baby was born, an immediate message came through to my mother asking for a picture. I said, send the picture. She sent the picture.
To be fair, I don't think she was she made it sound like she was easy to work with at that time. To be fair, if you just realize you're pregnant and you realize that someone you thought was your only one telling you that they have a girlfriend the whole time, right? And this is NBA player, etc. So I'm pretty sure she was not being extremely like open-minded at that time too. So I'm pretty sure she was a little bit more like being passive aggressive with certain things she did too. So she makes it sound like, again, that's why I said there's his story, her story, and the truth in the middle, right? So again, Dwight Howard have to like probably tell his side of the story to kind of like get a full of pictures, get some part of the picture too, right? So I don't think he intentionally just ignored her throughout the whole time, right? I'm pretty sure he got some kickback from her of like saying like, hey, you were not, you get what I'm saying? Like, hey, you were not there enough for me. So she probably like gave him some cold shoulders, etc. But again, welcome to life, man. That's why it's very important to like know the person you get pregnant. Very important, because they're stuck with you for life. For life.
And the response was, oh, that's my grandbaby. To me, all babies look alike when they're born, so whatever, but hey, go off. I was thinking that maybe that was going to be a start to something better, but it was actually the gateway to hell. For the next 3 days, I stayed in the hospital, and not one time did I receive a visit from him or anyone in his family, but his girlfriend actually did stop by unannounced and uninvited with a bag of bibs talking about we needed to speak.
Yeah. It's just the tone that she sets, just the inflation in her voice. You could tell, like, yeah, as soon as the girlfriend pulled off. But again, it's like, is it fair? I get it. I can understand. She just got a kid and the other girl showing up. But to be fair, she was kind of like the side piece. So the girlfriend should be more pissed, but she's being supportive. But again, it's getting a little sticky.
I said, no, we don't. Asked her to leave, and she left. It was cool. Well.
Okay, sassy girl said, no, just bits and pieces, right? Yes. But I've heard about her son when it happened by other vloggers. Yeah, I've never heard of her. Maybe I have. I just don't know exactly who her son is. So I have to kind of Google that.
A few days later, I was discharged from the hospital the day before Thanksgiving, actually. And on Thanksgiving, we go to my cousin's every single year who stayed.
Okay, so it looks like I was wrong. So it looks like the year is correct, like 2007, not 04. So if 2007 and 25, so what is a kid now? 18 years? Am I correct? 18 years?
Right around the corner from him. He kept saying that he was going to come by, that he was around the corner, that he was about to ring the doorbell. All these things, kept saying that he was coming by. Y'all, he never showed up. We then ended up taking a paternity test at a neutral location, even though the team had asked me to take it at their offices, and I said, hell no, because I don't trust them. We took it at a neutral location. The results came back on Christmas Eve. He acted like he was excited, wanted to see the baby the next day, Christmas. I said, cool. Christmas comes. He's like, who all over there? And he wanted to see him by himself. I said, absolutely not. I'm not telling my family to leave. They're my support system. So they stayed. He comes in. He's with his cousin. His cousin is taking all these pictures. I'm not taking pictures. His cousin's taking pictures. Next thing we know, a few days later, these pictures that his cousin has taken, one in particular where he's laying on the sofa and our child is on his shoulder, has now gone, like, I guess back then, viral. And everybody now knows that Superman has a baby. Hey, y'all. It's Royce.
Okay. That was good. So we're getting somewhere, okay? So we finished, looks like part 2-ish. And now let's continue. February 2008 to December 2008.
Hey, y'all. It's Royce.
So part 3.
And I'm back again to tell you about how my life changed. Beginning July 31st, 2004. And still now. All because I had a baby.
A little disclaimer, just like Royce said, she wrote, disclaimer, this video may be triggering for some who have experienced mental, physical, verbal, and emotional abuse, okay? So please, trigger warning, okay? Trigger warning, trigger warning.
Superman, part 3. We are now in January of 2008, and I am at my cousin's.
I love how she did that. That's a great way of telling the story. Like, see how she maps it. Very easy, right? It's very easy to follow too if you do it that way. Make sure the timing is kind of displayed, the time frame, etc. Just so much more better. I'm actually there.
House. The same cousin that stays around the corner from him. He calls and he says that he wants to come and have a talk with me. I said, okay. He comes by. Superman is bearing gifts. There's a brand new car outside for me, a Lexus SUV, a brand new Sidekick phone, and he offers to buy me a house. After talking it over with my dad, my mom, it was absolutely not, because the house is not going to be in your name, and it's something that he can take from you at any moment.
Adios, come on. Message to men. Playboy days are over. Maybe I should clip this out for like shorts, right? Playboy days are over. You have to know who you're going to be having a child with, man. Look at that right now. Yes, she's right by the fact that, like, yes, the house does not belong to her, but this is for the child, right? The house is not for her, it's for the child, okay? If Dwight Howard said, like, well, the child's name is not going to be on it too, that's a problem. I get that, right? She can argue that, but it's like I have to blame him. I have to blame him more because he has more to lose. I promise you. If the role was switched, right, I would say the exact same thing too. And she would feel the exact same way too, because again, it was kind of like it sounds like a one night kind of thing, a few nights kind of thing that led to a child, right? And, oh, man, damn. Hey, he signed a deal. She looks like she hit a deal too, right?
If he gets mad. So I declined it. He then said, well, let me refurnish your townhouse. Okay. I was not asked about any type of furniture. They just showed up at my door one day and just started bringing stuff in. No lie. I had no say so. When it came down.
Hey, if anyone wants to, like, magically, I don't know, decorate my house, feel free to do so. Just tell me where you like to send, like, I can make an Amazon like wish list, and you can add anything you want, okay? Beggars can't be choosers. I'm just saying, okay?
Down to me needing diapers and bottles and now formula because I'm no longer able to breastfeed. My body wasn't producing enough milk. His mom did at one point come by with a bunch of diapers. I was very thankful. But that was it. There was nothing else. There was no help. There was nothing. At this point, I auditioned for a dancing gig at Holy Land. And I got the gig, so I began dancing in late January. So now I have a job. I'm working. On the days that I had to work, my child was with my parents, and on occasion, he would be with his father and the nanny and his girlfriend. Well, there were days where he would come home from seeing or spending time with his father, and he would be very colicky, throwing up, like sick. I mean, fevers, would have to take him to the doctor. It was a lot. That relationship he was in.
Listen, raising a baby is no joke, man. Raising a baby is no joke. So I get it. So when she said there's no help, having emotional help and having like financial help is two different things. Trust me. Like, I don't want to go too much in detail about my personal situation, but it's just like, yes, it's good to have financial help. That does help out a lot, right? But being there emotionally and physically being there, it's a big difference. It's a big difference because because the baby just, it forces you to just like be stationary, right? And just like there needs so much attention. Like you literally on high alert all the time, right? Going to be the smallest thing ever. So just having someone, your partner with you to kind of like ease that burden is extremely helpful. So I wonder if that's what she's referring to when she says she didn't get any help like that. Is she referring to like financial help? Because it sounded like she was getting it, right? The fact that he wanted to like, hey, I'm going to buy you a townhouse. I'm going to do all this stuff. And she said, no, kind of no, right? I'm sorry. She said no to the house, but she allowed him to design, to decorate like her townhouse. And exactly what she stated too. Like she didn't like have any input, right? But hey, free, right? But it sounded like, again, she got like financial, but I think that's what she really was probably wanting to say. It was like she didn't get any emotional help at all, right? And his physical help, because again, it's not your parents that birthed the kid. Your parents is not there, right? Your grandparents is not there. It's your partner that's supposed to be there. So I get that part.
And ended. I find out later on that the reason my child was returned super colicky, sick, throwing up, all these things, only to then be told it was because they were purposely giving him food that was opposite of what he was eating. I would pack a bag and I would have it listed of what he should be eating for lunch, for dinner, all these things. And he was intentionally given the opposite. So when he would be returned home, he was sick, colicky, throwing up, having to go to the hospital. When I confronted the situation, I was told that was a lie and that it was only done because they thought I was trying to micromanage. And
I can see their point, but I can also see her point too. I can see, I can see both party point, right? But the thing about a child, right? When they live with you a majority of the time, right? You kind of know what food works for them, what doesn't work. But you have it too where you take them to grandparents, right? Grandparents like said, hey, this is what kind of like kept me alive, right? So they're going to give like different kind of stuff too. So that's how I kind of see that situation. So if it's leading to the hospital, that's a whole different kind of ball game. I was not there. Okay. I do wish she provided receipt because she said she has receipt, right? But I don't see the receipt here. So that's the only kind of side I kind of have on the situation.
Decided that they were just going to give him whatever they wanted to give him. Okay. I let it go, y'all. Now,
not fair, because again, guess what I say? Like, I don't care who it is. Like, if they were having this relationship work, taking them to like your partner's like parents, your grandparents are gonna like, both grandparents probably gonna feed them something different because what they were brought up with, right? So it's, again, I don't think it was any kind of malice was being done. Again, except she shows the receipt. So the receipt is not being shown. So that has me a little bit kind of like side-eyed in this situation.
Again, we've had the birthday party. We've had our Christmas. Things seem to be going okay, right? We've now gone to mediation. And in mediation, we agreed to a child support number. And it was drastically, probably a third of what one of my attorneys was requesting. I said that I didn't want to seem like I was out for his money, so I was okay with the amount that was given. Totally fine. Moving forward, I start dating. Now all of a sudden it's, I think we should make this.
I'm a little messy. I want to know how much the amount is. I think we deserve to know. And that was 2009. So if she's going to disclose this, so why not just tell us go all in, go balls in.
Work. This is your first kid. This is, my first kid. Let's make this work. Now, this is where I could probably be stupid. Well, I was dumb. I saw family. And I am a very forgiving person. If you know anything about me, I forgive way too much. So we decided to work on a relationship. Crazy, right?
Again, oh no. I'm not one of those people that is going to say, well, how dare you, blah, blah. Hey, that's the father of your child. I get it. 100% get it. It looks like they were not really in a relationship prior. Like, what I mean by relationship, like a long-term relationship before they had the child, right? So they have a child now. They're stuck for life. Not 18 years, for life, right? Every time you see the child, you're going to remember like, hey, that's a decision I made. Good or bad. It depends how good the child is. If it's a good child, it's like, yeah, that was a good decision I made, right? If it's a bad decision, it's like, look like your mother. I'm just kidding. But again, so I get it. So she wants to give it a trial. Again, it's easier said than done. When, again, you made a life with this person, a life. It's not someone you had a fling with and just like, that's it. You guys went your separate way. You got married and now it's like you don't have to ever see each other again. But when you have a child, it's like, you feel me? We got to try to make this work somehow, right?
Right. But we did. Almost immediately, I regretted it.
Oh, Sassy Girl says she was the same one on Basketball Wives. So I don't know how Dwight missed the so-called red flags he mentioned. I don't know about the red flags at all. I'm not familiar with her Basketball Wives. Basketball Wives, I don't think I've ever watched a complete episode. It's probably like literally like clips on social media or like trending stuff. I've never watched the whole clip. So maybe that's where she's from. I don't, again, I stopped watching television a very long time ago, right? It was just like on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I
was forced to do things sexually that I did not.
Whoa. Okay, now things are changing. So 2009. So she's now going back to Dwight Howard, and she's now saying like that she's being forced to do things.
Necessarily agree with. But because I wasn't that experienced, I thought it was normal.
Again, I cannot rewind it. So I swear she said forced, right? Because I don't want to put words in her mouth, right? Because if, let's say he wants a threesome, right? And you do it, right? Would she consider that forced? Right. So again, let's carry forward. I don't want to like assume anything. OK.
And I never complained about it. I just felt like this was me experiencing things that maybe he has experienced and I have not. That's when things started turning verbally and physically and also mentally abusive. I was told that I was stupid. I was told that nobody would ever want me. I was told that everybody here loved him and hated me. And how does it feel to have my hometown turn on me? I better not ever leave him. If I left him ever, he would make my life a living hell. And he did. There were days that I would be at his home and I was threatened with a knife. And then it was laughed off. But when the knife was in my face, it was, I could kill you right now and get away with it because I could claim self-defense and they would believe me and not you because who are you? That happened. He came to my house one day to pick up our child, and because I did not have a bag.
This is the thing. This is the age that we live in, right? you have to be reserved. Try to hold reservation for some of the things you hear. I remember when, except for like certain stories, I believe that Jay-Z is being framed right now. He's being lied on, right? But the Diddy stuff, when Cassie came out with the lawsuit, because he went straight to like legal, try to file. She wasn't a criminal case, right? But with the idea that she actually filed the case, right, brought like some weight to some of the things that she would say. When that video dropped, that to me was just like, damn, Cassie's right, right? So when I'm listening to what she's saying about the fact that like Dwight Howard would say like, oh, I could put a knife on you, I can get away with it, right? That sounds far-fetched to me, right? But I also believe too, like, as you can see with Cassie's situation, is like, if there was not that video, right, a lot of people would still say like, oh, she's just trying to do a money grab. So it's very important to be reserved, right, with any kind of judgment, except the story is just far-fetched, right? She says, well, he picked me up and threw me off a 20-story building and I broke everything and I recovered 2 days later because he gave me this magical potion. Then I'm going to say, yeah, she's crazy. Does that make sense? So I don't want to feel like you shouldn't question something that just sounds just outlandish, right? But in this situation right now, is that the fact that like, is it possible that he can say that? Yeah, it sounds like it, right? I don't know. I really don't know, right? It's not like the situation where with P. Diddy's, Jay-Z's situation where this girl is saying like he did something to her and her dad is like, I never drove you basically round trip of 12 hours, right, to like a place where she allegedly was. So that's a whole different kind of story. So it's very important to like differentiate that, okay? And that's a unique situation. So I don't know. I really don't know. Like, you get what I'm saying? I don't have a side here at all. So I just want to disclose that.
Backpacked or orange Trident gum or soda in my refrigerator. He followed me into our child's closet and he grabbed me and he pushed me to the floor and said, in the future, I better have his bag waiting. I then left. I go out into the family room and I'm telling his best friend, the one that's an inch away from being a little person, and I'm like, get your friend. He's going crazy. What's wrong with him? Well, he comes in there and he, in front of his best friend, as well as my goddaughter, my other goddaughter, he grabs my hair and he forces me to the floor. And he's like, who the are you talking to?
Okay. Notice how she placed someone else there. That's a key. Notice how she even placed Dwight Howard's like best friend there. And that's why I think Dwight Howard is like he's a threatening to sue, right? So, because what she's saying still sounds very criminal, right? A lot of criminal behavior is going on. So this is alleged, right? So maybe I need to like crop out, like do more commentary or like crop out like few things because it looks like if he proceeds to sue, he's going to try to bring down all this video. So because a lot of people are going to do commentary today. So I think it's very important to like, if my commentary, whatever is left over, it's extremely fair use. Okay. So I may let it play a lot during this live, but later I probably have to go in there and kind of like cut out some few things and make sure the video is short.
Our child, who is not even 2 yet, is thinking he's playing. So he's grabbing at his leg with his baby voice and he throws me into the entertainment center. When he threw me into the entertainment center, it broke the door. So I was flung into the one on the right, and our son, who was grabbing him and like thinking he was playing, he then flung him into the other door. I do not think that was intentional.
Dude, man, I don't understand, bro. If I make $1 million a year, I'm not arguing with nobody, let alone like do some of the things that he's being like alleged to have done. That's crazy. It's okay. This just got dark. Again, disclaimer: this video may be triggering for those who have experienced mental, physical, and verbal and emotional abuse. Okay, jeez, this kind of went places. I thought like when I was listening to like what people were saying, it sounded like just a bunch of like freak offs. That's why I kind of like wasn't as much interested. I just realized that hey, people are freaky, right? When celebrity become freaky, like it's like the common folks is like, oh my God, what are they doing? They're having threesomes. But when your neighbor do it, your boss probably do it, right? So it's not really a big thing for me. But coming, like some of the things she's saying now with the abuse, that's going places. So yeah, this is gonna get very intense.
I don't think he knew his own strength, but that's what he did, and it did.
He is what? How tall is Dwight Howard? Let's see. How tall is Dwight Howard? Yeah, he's 6'10". Oh, he's 6'10", a basketball player. Oh man, that's not good. This is not good.
Break that door as well. Our son started crying. His best friend was like, man, what you doing? Like, that's a female. And he's just not caring. That's when I realized, like, oh my God, I'm in a relationship that I swore I would never be in. Now, moving on. The day that I really wanted to leave was a day where I did not want to have relations with him. And he then forced me to give him fellatio. I know you're wondering, how does someone force you into doing that? When you are dealing with someone that is that big and you are that small.
Okay, that's yeah, this is gonna go places.
And you're terrified of them, and they have gotten away with so much and doing so many things, and you're still the one made out to be crazy and bitter. You're probably willing to do just about anything just to get through it. And that's where I was. After that, another nanny came into the picture. I knew this nanny was not okay. When she would drop our child off, he would sit in the doorway and he was hitting himself. Or he would be in the bathtub and he would be playing with himself in a really weird way that just didn't seem right. Of course, he was little, so he couldn't really vocalize things. But yeah, I could tell something wasn't right. There was the day where I invited her inside and I sat her down and I said, I just need to talk to you. And I said, have you ever put your hands on my son? And she swore up and down no. And I said, well, why is he sitting in the doorway hitting himself or playing with himself in the bathtub? And she was like, oh my God, I don't know. Why would you even ask me something like that? I said, because I want to know. She swore up and down that she had never put her hands on my son in an inappropriate way or even as a disciplinarian. I said, okay. And I said, but if I find out that you have ever put your hands on my son, we're going to have a problem. She asked me if that was a threat. I said, no, it's not a threat. It's a promise. She then went back and told them that I threatened her. And I told them the same thing, that I didn't threaten her, that I made a promise. And that's when things started getting hidden from me about what was going on at that house with my child. But I found out anyway. This is also around the time that Basketball Wives was coming to fruition. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and
okay,
I'm
that was a little bit intense, but we have to keep going. Okay, let's see if I can be a man of my word and stay listen to everything. So if I can't do it today, we're definitely gonna come back tomorrow. Okay. Can someone tell me, is there a way to fast forward on Instagram that I don't know? Let's see. Tell your story on TikTok. Okay, I believe everything he says. I want to see. Did she say anything here? I'm a little bit confused. Okay, so I guess part 3. We just finished part 3, so let's go to part 4.
Hey y'all, It's Royce, and I'm here to tell you how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004, up until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 4. So I need to go back through 2009 a little bit more in depth because that's where a lot of your questions are. So the first part of 2009,
I'm so mad I didn't follow this story in the beginning. Oh, this is such a good story, interesting story. Except for that, I guess what I say is such an interesting story is that, like, we're in a time where people can have direct access to, like, those in a position of influence or celebrity, etc. So you're seeing someone who dated someone of influence, right? And a celebrity, right? He's considered a celebrity, right? And it's such a weird time that they can literally go live, and just some of the things they're saying is like we've never had that streamline ever in history, like as we do now. So that's why I find very fascinated, right? And if I was going live when she kind of had this, right, kind of give like a commentary, I would probably have more questions now. So I would try to get engaged too and answer those questions that anyone have. But let's listen to what you have to say, okay? Again, don't forget I have to pause this for fair use commentary. I just cannot let this go through, okay? If that's because what it looks like now, some of the allegations she's making, I think Dwight Howard and his team is probably going to try to flag some YouTube channels, okay? My channel is next to nothing, right? But you never know like what they're going to try to do. So it's very important that I give fair use commentary so that way I don't just let this go through, okay? Just in case it starts striking.
Say the first quarter, I am confiding in Shawnee. I'm talking to her about pretty much everything I'm going through. She was one of the first people I told that I was pregnant, so I really thought I had a friend. When it came down to me telling her that Superman had reached out about trying to work things out, it was do what you feel is best for you and your son, follow your heart, don't listen to what people have to say, nothing biased. So I decide to work things out. As we're working things out, there are also conversations about a reality show. When I discussed it with him, he was all for it. He wanted to do it. He was excited about it. I told Shawnee, and easy sell. So during this time, we are working on our relationship. We are out in...
Oh, Sassy Girl is still here. Aloha, Sassy Girl. Yes, the first time I've heard... Okay, yes, people have done videos with the same thing, if not more of what she's saying. You have to remember NBA and NFL players are totally different behind doors. Yes, everyone is different behind the doors, right? Allegedly, yes. Sassy Girl also said that part of her story hasn't changed. What part of her story hasn't changed, Sassy Girl?
Public. I mean, I'm going to the games. Our son is wearing his jersey. We had a Magic Dancer reunion. It was just a lot going on. I am buying a house. I am shooting a sizzle reel in Miami for the show. And that's when the verbal assault started. But I took my ass to LA and I went and I pitched that show to all those different networks. And I talked about how great of a relationship I was in. And I just knew I got it sold. I get back home and I find out that I have been cheated on with several women. All that I kept thinking in my head was, this man does not like to use condoms. I went off.
God damn. Oh, Dios. Ay, ay, ay. Sassy Girl said the part of her story hasn't changed. The story about the maid. Okay, got it. I see. Yeah, geesh. Okay. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say, man.
I went to the clinic, I got tested, and I went off on Twitter. I mean, woo! I was letting his ass have it, y'all. Of course, he got pissed off.
Oh, wow. I would love to see those tweets. Yeah, does anyone have that? If you do, actually, I'm gonna look for it. I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm gonna look for it myself, okay?
And we broke up. And then a couple days later is when he comes by the house and he's supposed to be picking up our son. He's mad because I would usually have a backpack and some of his favorite snacks at my house, but We not together, so why the fuck would I have that? But anyway, obviously he's in a bad mood. So I'm just trying to ignore his attitude. He's yelling in the house like, oh, I'm ready to go. And where's his bag? And I'm like, it's in the closet. He goes to the closet and I'm asking him like, yo, you good? Like, you okay? Because you acting real strange. He turns around and proceeds to tell me how stupid and useless I am, how I'm worth nothing, how nobody will ever want me. No man is ever going to want to be with me. How I'm the best that he could ever get. I'll be back. All these things. That's when I go into the family room and I tell his friend, like, yo, get your friend. He acting crazy. Like, what's wrong with him? And he comes out. That's when he grabs my hair, flings me into the entertainment center. Same thing with our son. I told this story in part 3. I don't really want to have to rehash it. But before they left, obviously his friend is saying, hey, man, stop. That's a female. But he's still screaming and calling me every name besides the one I was given. They then pick up our son and they leave. I'm now left to have this conversation about what just happened with my goddaughter. After that, I then had to pick up our son from his house. And I'm sorry, y'all. I do not know why I laugh or smile when I'm telling my trauma. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
I get it. That's why I first... You know, on YouTube or any kind of social media platform, right? It's like when someone is doing something that's not we consider normal, like because she's telling something so traumatic, people want her to just cry or just kind of like have this outburst, right? I kind of get it. I really kind of understand it because again, when she's like the fact that she's not doing that, right? The fact that like she looks like she's smirking. At first, I was like, "What is that?" But at the same time, it's like we all have different ways of dealing with trauma. I know some people that literally laugh, right, when they feel very like uncomfortable about certain things, right? That's their way of dealing with it, right? And it looks like her way is just like she's been through a lot. She comes on social media and just started like crying. A lot of people may feel like she's probably being emotionally manipulative, right, or etc., right? But again, it should now have a smirk on her face. Like, of course, she's gonna have critics of saying something different, right? But I get it. Let her just tell her story. Let her tell her story. Again, she's not a robot. She's not like have a lawyer right there like say, hey, you got to do this and do it this way, right? This is her truth. So let her do it her way.
I know it looks weird. I know it looks crazy. I don't know if it's a coping mechanism. I don't know. I'm sorry.
You can tell she's reading a lot of the comments. Some of this stuff is starting to get to her. So it'll be very fascinating to kind of go back and watch the beginning of how the story started, how like her facial expression was, right? And watch towards the end, like maybe I'm not sure what the story is going to end, like what number is going to end, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the comments are probably going to get her to like change some of her or like her behavior.
I'm trying. I don't know why I do that. But they leave with our son, and like I said, I have to now go and pick him up from his house after this visitation, and I'm in his room, and that's when the knife situation happened. It should also be noted that prior to me going to pick up our son, we had a few conversations, and I forgave him again. So I get to the house, and he asked me to come into his room. I go, he closes the door, and he pulls a knife out on me. He says, I could really kill you right now and claim self-defense, and they would believe me because everyone loves me.
Okay, that's the story she told before. Okay, got it. I thought it was another, like, incident.
To attempt to rewrite history is crazy because those of you who were at the house that day know exactly what happened. But maybe that hypnotism did work. So he comes over to the house about a week or so later, and we're hanging out with our son, watching a movie in the family room. Remember, we're trying to work things out. And I go to the bathroom. When I come out the bathroom, he's in the bedroom. He wants to have sex. I say, no, my cycle is on. He says he wants head. And I say, no, our son is right there in the other room. He proceeds to get up. He shuts the door. He comes over to me and he pushes me down to the floor like he did before. And he proceeds to ram his waist into my face. If you can imagine.
Yeah, this stuff is probably gonna shut down. Whoa, this is the world that we kind of live in now, where this is how criminal investigation or some kind of like police investigation starts, right? What she's alleged right now is like just pure criminal like acts, right? So someone is gonna be investigated. Someone is definitely going to be investigated. He's going to be looked into to see if this happened. So it looks like, wow, it looks like this is the future now. People are literally like, they feel like they're forced to like go online to like tell the story before police can probably do something, because so many people have heard the story. And now they're probably being forced to kind of say, hey, look into the story than before. So that's interesting. And that's what's kind of happening. Look at the same thing with Cassie. He did it, same exact things. Like, you have her coming to, like, I guess her stuff was more heading towards the court, and again the documents was released, and that just started a whole like firestorm. Okay,
what that feels like. Think about someone punching you in your nose at 6'11", 200 pounds, and their pants are still on. Think about that happening over and over and over again to you.
Damn.
You're now in tears. Your son is in the next room. You've already basically been told that you're hated by your hometown, so call the police on Superman? Clark Kent? Baby Jesus of Orlando? No, you can't do that. Okay, so that situation happened, and that is what ultimately led me to leave the relationship. Not soon after that, the show got picked up. And that's when contracts started going around and our attorneys started speaking with each other. And because I was still signed on to do the show and he was not, they were concerned about what I was going to say on the show. So they were like, well, we just want to make sure that she doesn't say anything bad about him because of his career. And we don't want any type of, defamation. And of course, I'm like, well, is it defamation if it's true? But okay.
If it's true, it's not defamation, but in the world that we live in, people have a funny way of like how they interpret certain things. That's just how human beings are. There's several incidents, several studies that have shown like we can both watch the same thing, but what we see is two different things. I'm not saying she's wrong with her story. I'm not saying that at all, right? So, but I'm just kind of like putting that out there, okay? Because this sounds, what I'm hearing right now is like, oh, this is.
And then it was also me saying, well, I don't plan on that being my story.
Sassy Girl says this can be an uncomfortable smile and smirk because she's speaking on, sorry, my stuff is kind of like, because what she's speaking on, yeah, it's kind of hard to see on my screen. Yeah, great job on the visuals and the audio. Please like the video. Yes, Sassy Girl, I'm gonna make you a moderator, but I have to like do this after, okay? So I saw the comment that you left. So after this live, I'm gonna like go in there and change it and make you a moderator, okay? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Sassy Girl.
Storyline. I don't have to talk bad about him. I don't really have to talk about him at all. The next day, my attorney calls me to his office and he's like, hey, you need to get here as soon as possible. I need you to sign this agreement. And I was like, what agreement? He said, the agreement about what we talked about yesterday with you and Superman. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I get in my car, and I think I was even at the park because I was close. But I get to his office, and it's not even 4:50 yet. It's like 4:40 something. And he's like, sign this agreement. So I'm looking at it first. I'm trying to like at least skim it. And he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just checking the, I'm supposed to read everything. So he says it's basically the conversation that we had, a couple of days prior, just in writing. I said, okay. I signed the paper. I trusted him to my detriment. He then goes, hurry up, we gotta go. I'm like, okay. So we're rushing out the office. I'm right behind this man, and we go to get in the car. He's like, what you doing? I was like, you said we gotta go. And he was like, well, not you. I was like, what do you mean, not me? He was like, you're not dressed appropriately. I had on an orange tank top and jeans and sneakers. This man went to court, and rather than me not be there for the judge to ask me if I knew what I was signing, for the judge to go through the different provisions of what that agreement said, and me have to agree to it, my attorney did that. You want to know what that agreement said? That I could not say his name, any type of insinuation, his middle name, nobody in his family's name, his friend's name. I couldn't even say my son's name, y'all.
Again, if it wasn't for that like physical abuse that she alleged, right, that he did. Again, this is all alleged because we're playing with something that sounds very criminal, right? I'm not a lawyer, right? If it wasn't for that, this is a normal like probably NDA she's signing, right? Because of like those salacious shows that she goes to, right? Dwight Howard is signing $100 million deal, right? Again, I don't know if her story is true, but I'm saying that like the shows that she signed up for is like literally salacious stuff. They can affect his like potential for to get signed to a team, right? So if I'm making $100 million, right, and my girlfriend is going to like a show that's all about like just the gutter, right? Again, I haven't watched that Basketball Wife. I'm pretty sure it's like every other show that is literally a bunch of like just nothing, just like messiness, right? But he's signing $100 million deal, $60 million deal, right? So he's gonna want to protect his image, right? So that to me is normal of what the fact like he's kind of like protecting his image. But again, please separate what he does, what she alleged he did, because if you feel like if he's 100% guilty, imagine that's your daddy, imagine that's your like your brother, imagine that's your uncle, that if someone just alleged something, if you think that's 100% true, I hope someone do the same thing to someone you love, because it's not fair. So I don't know that. I do not know this at all, right? But I believe in trust but verify. So I might trust in some of the things she's saying. I am, right? But at the same time, on to Dwight Howard, like, speak about this. That's when I'm going to kind of like gauge, okay, how is it respond? But it looks like he's taking a lawyer approach, right? But again, let's give her a chance to like, again, speak her truth, okay? But it is normal to me that if you are going to a show that's full of salacious and just like extremes, that it's gonna devalue whoever you really attach to. That she's not marrying like, I don't know, a YouTuber. She's marrying someone who signed $100 million deal, a basketball deal. So for him to like be the image of like Nike or like Adidas, etc., right? They want that clean image. If his girlfriend is out there fighting someone or like throwing drinks at someone on a television show, that does not look good on him. Should that affect him? No, but come on. We know what kind of world we live in, right?
And if anybody in the room was even talking about him, I would have to leave. And it said not to.
Sassy Girl says, can I put up the fair use banner? I don't have that, Sassy Girl, right now, but that's something I would definitely like bring in on my next live, okay? Remind me, please. That's a good one. I'm going to have the fair use banner, okay? I'm also going to have a fair use in the intro too, right? And also have a fair use in the description. I think I have that.
Till death, check. But till death and the end of time. That attorney later withdrew as my attorney. But there's a new agreement in place, which trumps the old one. So as much as I wanted to fight it and argue it down because it was on some bullshit, my attorney had to remind me, it's not about the little battles. It's about the war. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you.
Part 4 was very interesting. Ooh. Okay, now we're not in part 5 yet. So, but it looks like I see part 5. Where's part 6? Uh-oh. But let's just see this real quick. Is there a way to fast forward on Instagram, please? If anyone know.
Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you how my.
No, I cannot fast forward. Okay, sorry guys. So it looks like I'm gonna go to part 5. Let's see what this have.
Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 to even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 5. I think it's also important to note when people ask, well, why couldn't you all try and work this out? Y'all needed therapy. We were actually given a parenting coordinator, and I went to all the.
Sassy Girl says, I'm unbiased until this goes to court, right? I'm not taking sides. More likely than not, Sassy Girl, if this go to court, they're probably going to settle, right? They're probably going to settle because of the fact that like some of the potential things that could probably come out, because some of the things she's saying is, before the way it was presented to me on social media, it was like a sex party, but this is more than that. This is on some like, this requires investigation, right? Some of the things that is alleged that he's doing, right? So Sassy Girl says, I'm not taking sides. I see too many women lie about this subject, right? And however, I'm not saying she's lying. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying she's lying. I'm definitely not saying she's lying. Even if it's 50% truth in there, right? There's still a lot of disturbing things that she's mentioned, okay? Again, I was expecting to hear some like freak show. I was like, okay, this is what this is going to be about. But I didn't expect some of the things that I'm hearing of how the abuse, right, that she's going through, not only just physical, some of the other stuff she's mentioned about the kids too, is like, damn. So yeah, this is going somewhere, okay? So let's continue on to the show, okay?
Appointments. He went to one. He stopped showing up. So she ended up writing a letter stating that she could not do her job because of his failure to participate. So we are now at the end of 2009. And unbeknownst to me, this agreement I've signed has just basically destroyed my life. Well, not only am I fighting him in civil court, but I'm also fighting him in family court. They are filing all these motions claiming that I am denying visitation when half the time they asked for it, he wasn't even in town. But what does that mean? More attorney fees.
Sassy Girl, you are now a moderator. Check. And welcome to the Moderators Club. Sassy Girl, you're now a moderator, okay? If you look at Sassy Girl, I'm actually streaming in 2 different places. So I think the place that I'm probably going to need moderation on is the vertical stream, okay? The vertical stream is like, you would notice it when you see that. So that's where I think it's a good place to kind of like mod from. And let me know if you're able to do so. Maybe I need to like do something special, okay? Thanks, Sassy Girl, for modding for me, okay? Thanks.
More court costs. Because every time a motion was filed, we had to answer. During this time, I am also dealing with one of his minions that is going on the internet and threatening to fight me at my son's birthday party. She was saying that someone was going to end up at the 33rd Street jail, that they needed to have her bail money because there was going to be trouble. I am expressing my concern regarding this person, and finally it was agreed that she would not come. So now here we are in the first quarter of 2010, and I'm filming the show. I am living my best life. I am outside. I am dancing at pool parties. And here comes another lawsuit. What does that mean? Another set of retainer fees. There goes my first check. So the second quarter of 2010, I am getting drained with attorney fees. I'm fighting him in family court as well as civil court. And I'm also doing promo for the show. I am now asked to go on the Wendy Williams show. Not as a guest, but as a how you doing, girl.
Is she implying that she did have a settlement, right? I'm pretty sure that's helping with the lawsuit. But again, she's not married. If she was married, that's a whole different ball game. He would be paying for it, just FYI. So, yeah, but
she asked me,
I don't know,
if my son's father was Superman. I said yes. I'm now sued. I am sued for $500 million. As I'm dealing with...
What? It sounds like an Austin Power movie. $1 billion. What? Yeah, but again, NDA, when you sign an NDA, and when she signed that NDA, people should know this. You don't sign the NDA. She didn't go there to say, hey, I'm going to go on this show. And he's like, well, sign this paperwork and that's it. She gets money. She get compensated for that. Okay. And this is why I hate people. That's why I say sometimes people, I have to watch them with with a side eye. It's like how they don't sometimes disclose something. Again, I'm not saying she's wrong, right? It's how people don't disclose like the full information. if you signed that NDA, I'm pretty sure you got something for that, for keeping your mouth closed and not mentioning his name. I'm pretty sure she got something for that, right? So if you're going to tell that story, I think it's important to tell that part too, right? Anyway.
Latest lawsuit, and people are laughing at me.
And that's why, going back to the NDA, that's why he can go back and sue you for the, like, claiming the $500 million that she doesn't have, right? Because he probably gave her money initially. He says, hey, before you sign this paperwork, here's this sum of money. This probably $500,000, right? Here's the sum of money. Don't talk about me. You're being financially compensated. But if you turn around and talk about me, guess what? I want that money times 10. And that's how it usually works. Okay? So that's a very important key to remember.
Me all over the internet and wishing hell on me, hoping that I go to jail, calling me every name in the book. I am also getting harassed by the same person who threatened to fight me at my son's birthday party. She is sending me messages about, how does it feel to not be number one anymore? How does it feel to know you're not the only one? Don't you feel stupid? And what was she talking about? We have welcomed baby number 2, a little girl born in June of 2010. In September of 2010, there was another lawsuit. What does that mean? More money, in which at this point I did not have. He won. There was a writ of garnishment that was made out for November.
And this is what I'm talking about, for him to win. For him to have that because again, the NDA does not like work like this fantasy world where you get to sign a paper that says, don't talk about me, but if you talk about me, I'm gonna like sue you for $500 million. That's not how it works. It's probably, again, she received a very large sum of money to basically not talk about him, right? So she's getting paid from the show, got the NDA kind of payout, right? And so that's probably what he won, though. So this is what I think. This is what I'm assuming. Okay, this is why I said I wish I did this earlier, because I could have followed up with those kind of questions too. Because we're living in a very interesting time. Like my questions probably could have made it to one of the things she answered.
Of 2010, and they went and looked for every single account that I had, and they took everything from me. Not only did they do that, they found the account that I had with my mother since I was a little girl, the very first account I ever had, and she was attached to it. It wasn't even an account that I used anymore. But because they didn't get anything out of that account from me, they took everything from her. They took my mom's entire savings. In the early part of 2011, I released my book, College Girls. I was hosting parties. I had a boy.
Well, again, disingenuous, because they had to prove to the court probably that the source of money was coming from her, not necessarily her mom, right? Because the court is going to look at it. Okay, give me a 10-year bank statement, right? And they go far back and kind of see exactly who's putting money into this bank account. Because to be fair, right, we have to look at it this way. Let's say she wanted to hide money. She could easily here, mom, here's the $100,000, put in this bank account, right? The court is also going to look at it like, okay, how did the mom get that money in the first place? So it's always very disingenuous to me when people make certain statement like this, because then I feel like you're playing with my intelligence, right? Like the court is just going to say, well, your mom's signature is there, your signature is there. They're just going to ignore. Wait 1 second. Okay.
Boyfriend, the one that bought me the dog. I was doing the weekly blog for the show. I was in Detroit doing the play Cheaters. I was hustling, y'all. Come June of 2011, wouldn't you know, by the grace of God, out pops Superman and Sister C. This one is a Christian. She is modest. She is a beautiful girl, all natural.
So the whole time, Superman has been out there. See, guys, it's very important, man. Know your partner. Know your partner, man. It's extremely important.
Natural, and I mean, very Little House on the Prairie. perfect for his image. He is getting baptized. He is giving himself to God. He is in love. Visitations seem as if they are becoming more consistent, so I'm grateful. August comes, and because visitation has become a little bit more consistent, my son is now waiting for him on the curb. Yes, just like the little picture of the kid sitting on the curb with a lunchbox waiting for their parent that never comes. That was my child, the one and only time I allowed him to do that. But nobody called to say that they weren't coming. And because I turned into the FBI, I find bitches instantly. I went on Twitter because I wanted to.
Oh, she's gonna be good in the T sector. If she finds her way to the T sector, we have a problem.
Know where he was, and this was around the time where people were putting all their business out there. So I saw a picture, and he was in New Jersey. He was on a basketball court with his pastor Zachary Timms. Oh, I had to go back through my calendar, and I was making sure that this was a day that he was supposed to have our son. And it was, and I reached out to my attorney. I sent the picture to my attorney, and I'm like, what is going on? There was no response. So the next day, I get back on the internet because I want to see if there's at least a timeline of a return, because my plans have now changed, but it's always been that way. Well, all of a sudden, the Twitter page went from 10,000 plus tweets to 10, 20. What happened? Did he find out that I saw that he was in New Jersey and didn't get our son for visitation? No. I then see a headline that says, Pastor Zachary Timms is no longer with us.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sassy Girl said, again, sorry, I have to read this on my phone because for some strange reason, it's not showing up on my software that I'm using. Yes, Sassy Girl, I see you in the vertical format now. It says you can get paid. Sassy Girl says you can get paid when you sign an NDA, but sometimes you don't. It depends on the client you're working for. Okay, fair enough. But in this situation right now with Dwight Howard, do you think she got paid for it? Right? I'm almost certain that she probably got a good lump sum to to not say his name. Okay. And said, Sassy Girl also said she shouldn't put the money she shouldn't have put the money in a separate account other than her mom's. I don't want to make any my personal take on this, but if I was to say something, I love how I'm doing that. I'm not going to say something, but I'm going to say something. Let me say something. This is about my opinion. Okay. I probably think it's probably a way for her mom to make it look like her mom was putting the money in there. That probably came from her. Okay. That's what I honestly believe, because it looks like she's all about making sure her name it's in something, because her mom kind of taught her that, right? So make sure your name is under something, because God forbid she gave the mom the money to put in an account, right? And something happened to her mom. Let's say they were not in good terms at that time, right? Her mom could have done something with the money. That's why she doesn't give it to the mom to just put in an account that doesn't have her name on it. So notice her name was on the account too. So that's how I feel about that. Again, this is my opinion. These are not facts. These have no bearing. These have they're not based on reality. These all are my YouTube professional experience, which stands for nothing.
Oh. For the rest of that year, I minded my business. Although I was still fighting in court and talking about this nanny and being told I was a liar, I kept my mouth shut. Well, now we're in January of 2012, and I am dating my football player. And I am happy.
Who did she date? Sassy Girl, do you know who she was dating at this time?
A picture comes out of him taking a nap with my son. Fully clothed, very innocent picture. The narrative that is given is that my boyfriend was being inappropriate with him. They took that narrative and they ran with it for weeks. They didn't care that it could destroy this person's character, his career, his reputation. Nothing. It wasn't about the nanny who was actually being inappropriate. It was about a distraction. Why? Well, in February, that is when I was made aware that he was leaving Orlando. And then in March, here comes baby number 3. Baby number 3 is over a year old. Baby number 3 is a little girl. Baby number 3 was born the same year as baby number 2.
Boy was busy. I guess that year his plug-in wasn't so strong, so he was busy.
We are now in April.
Off court.
April of 2012, and Superman is having back surgery in California, and I'm ecstatic that he is no longer here because I'm thinking he's going to leave me alone. He does not. I am hit with another lawsuit. And
do you guys think she wrote this down? The way it's recited, it looks like it was written down, but that does not mean anything. Could be as a way of her mapping out what she's gonna say. Because I don't write my things down on my YouTube channel. You can see. I actually did maybe 1 or 2, and that was more organized because I wanted to structure certain things I want to talk about. But overall, I never write it down, and it's just all over the place sometimes. So when I just go on this sporadic rant, but it looks like the word verbiage and some of the things that I just my personal observation, it looks like she's reading something.
This lawsuit, I am almost immediately demanded to send my child to California for 6 weeks. I get 1 week of visitation. Yes, I was forced to send my child to California for 6 weeks.
But another thing I want to say, listening to this, if Dwight Howard decides to show receipt of some of the things that he's going to allege, she better be ready for what's about to come. Because the reason I'm saying so is like, let's be serious. If the court is always fair more towards women than the man, right? But let's also be fair. This is someone who has the money to make certain things move. So that is very important, right? That's extremely, extremely important, right? Because we're not talking about an average Joe here. So maybe that's probably what's like weighing some of the things that she's experiencing. Like she feels like the law is not on her side, but I don't know.
To be with a person that he has not seen in 6 months, even when he was in Orlando. That visitation exchange was probably one of the worst situations I've ever had to endure.
Okay, Sassy Girl says she forgot his name. Okay, yeah, I have no idea who he is.
I watched my child hyperventilate. I watched my child scream. I watched my child reach for me.
Oh, Sassy Girl, I see you now. Oh, that's more. Okay, yes, I see you now. It looks like I only see you when you write on the vertical like stuff. I don't see you when you type it on the horizontal. I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna figure that out later. So yeah, so I see you now. I see you on the vertical. I forgot his name. Perfect.
To take him, and I had to let him go. I was given a visit halfway through, and I saw the same exact thing. And I was also there with one of my dancer friends that I dance with in Miami, who I also dance with sometimes when I take a heels class. They were there to console me because I could not, in my mind, save my child. After that visitation, I was hit in court with more motions, more visitation requests for days that he was not even in town. And there was one time where we actually did communicate and came up with a visitation schedule, and flights had already been made, but his attorneys wanted to go to court claiming that I was denying visitation. I went to court that day and I showed the judge that we already had the flight information. His attorneys sat there and were acting so oblivious, as if they had no idea. In 2013, I'm hit with more court filings and requests to produce as usual. But around April, I'm hearing rumors of another baby. Well, come June, that baby is born, a little boy. And I say on Twitter, congratulations, happy birthday. This baby was born in California by Little House on the Prairie, Sister Seat, and he has now been traded to...
Yo, she's messy. Yo, she's messy. She is messy. She no joke. She has that if people do not know, right? I had a channel in the T sector, and just the read of some of the stuff she's saying, like she's messy as hell, and oh man, she says a lot of like passive aggressive stuff.
Houston. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed.
Oh no, part 5 was really short. Part 5 was really short. Okay, so far so good. So we're part 7 now. Okay, so let's go. Oh, the final chapter. Uh-oh.
Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 7. I decided to write a lot of this next part down because I wanted to make sure that I could recount everything.
Speaking of writing, like, notice how I observed that. Again, it looks like she was not writing before, but that's interesting. So are we missing a part? Is part 6 missing? I see part 5. What happened to part 6? Part 8, part 9. Huh, interesting. Let's see.
Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 7. I decided to write a lot of this next part down because I wanted to make sure that I could recount everything in these last parts. So, excuse me for not constantly or consistently looking at the camera. February 2020, there is a text thread of conversations going on.
Oh, I need to investigate. So I'm going to come back tomorrow. We need to find part 6. We need to locate part 6. So she wants to be an FBI agent. I'm going to be an FBI agent and try to locate part 6. So let's see.
About possible quarantine in Georgia. This is what all of the mothers. Mother number 2 and number 3 said no. I ended up saying no after I spoke to my boyfriend, who is a traveling psychologist in the Bahamas. Damn, I fumbled that. A few weeks went on and the pandemic got worse.
Sassy Girl said on TikTok she had a piece of paper doing the live. Yeah, but the part 6 though, like, was that deleted for something? Sassy, dude, this is definitely gonna be deleted. All this stuff is gonna go, and I need to, like, again, go back in there, and some of the part that I just let her talk, I may have to cut that out. So make sure it is in compliance with the fair use commentary, okay? Because when Dwight, it looks like Dwight Howard, like, it's Dwight Howard, right? I think that's his name. It looks like he loves to, like, sue. So yes. Yes, Dwight, yes.
I got nervous. I got anxious, and going to my parents' house with all my pets was not an option. I looked for tickets to the Bahamas, but by then...
Yeah, we skipped a lot all the way to 2020. Ooh, no good.
Travel was restricted. In March of 2020, I am on Instagram, and I see prayer hands under Mama number 5's Instagram. I'm confused.
Number 5? I thought we were number 4. Oh, it's 5 now? Adios míos.
I get a phone call from Mama number 4, and she tells me that Mama number 5 has had a seizure and she has passed away. I'm devastated.
Sorry about that.
I also get a phone call from Superman, and he is distraught. He's crying. He is so upset. He can barely compose himself, and he is begging for us to come for quarantine. He says he has received all these revelations, and he wants to make sure that his family is taken care of, and he wants to go through therapy. I mean, he lays it on thick. And after speaking to my boyfriend, I agreed to go. After a 7-8 hour drive.
Sassy Girl says that sounds good. Then you have all the left out information. Absolutely. On IG, she only has a chat channel now. Yeah, I'm gonna go in there. I don't think I have an IG channel for, like, IG account for this channel, but maybe I have to create one. But yeah, this is pertinent information that is missing.
I, along with our son and our mini zoo, arrived at the estate in Sewanee, Georgia. It was late, so after getting our things out of the car and taking them into the guest house, I was called for dinner.
I just got a vibe. The way this is written, I feel there's a lawsuit coming up. I feel she's trying to get the public on her side, that she's trying to go after him, hard body karate. Just the way it's written out.
It was awkward. Everyone was acting normal, and I later learned that people...
And pay attention how she puts people in places that some of these allegations happened. Okay? It's for a reason.
In the home were a groundskeeper, a trainer, a self-proclaimed guru, the nanny, his 16-year-old goddaughter, myself, my child, mama number 4, and baby number 4. After I was at that table, I couldn't take it anymore, and I asked, why now? What happened? And he states that it is because he has received all these revelations, that he feels as if the world ending is almost a sign for him to make good with all bad and just a lot of stuff. He really was also claiming that he wanted to be a better father, and he wanted to apologize to all of us because he was basically a hoe. I listened to it. I also asked...
Well, do you agree or disagree?
asked the nanny about why she would not allow my son to speak to me, or they would take his phone and not return his phone. I had to take him to court for that. I'm really like, I'm confronting everybody, because I cannot stay in a house or be on a property where I feel uncomfortable and certain things haven't been addressed. That's just me. Later on that day is when I realized that he smoked like Snoop. I mean, day in, day out. Over the next couple of days, I was bit by a Malinois dog, and I also was made privy to a conversation regarding a former teammate of his and the passing of another. We were told that this particular teammate had no emotion when he was on the plane and did not show emotion until he exited the plane and left in a private car. Why that was important for us to know, I have no idea, but maybe it was because I used to praise and still praise how great of a father he is to his kids and husband he is to his wife. I actually ended up having a talk.
She's very messy. She's like, are we sure she's not in the T sector? She likes to throw a lot of things in. The shade.
With my Bahamian boyfriend, who was a psychologist, about this conversation, and he told me to immediately leave. He said, Royce, you're about to be manipulated.
Okay, so she left a football player, right? And she's now with a psychologist. Okay, got it. So she's moving too.
And brainwashed. I didn't believe him. I thought he was jealous. I stayed. Of course, we ended up breaking up. Well, now we're discussing Mama number 5's funeral and who's gonna go and who wants to go. And who ends up going is Mama number 4, myself, Superman, and the groundskeeper. Mind you, during all of this time, Superman is texting me about possibly becoming his matriarch and all the apologies that come, and him telling me that he was a changed man, that he was no longer the basketball player, and that he saw everything that he ever wanted to be. If I need to repost those messages, I could do that.
Again, I did not fast forward that, so that's from the video, okay?
Well, now we're in Reno, and I see Mama number 3 rubbing his back one day at the Mama number 5's mama's house. The next day, we are at the funeral. I'm taking pictures because he has not seen this little boy in months, and I'm trying to give him memories. Later on that evening, we go back to the family house, and we all get drunk, and we're taking edibles.
Oh, buddy. Uh-oh. this is a part I think I heard online, how some people feel like if he did all that stuff to you in the beginning, why do you keep going back to him? Right? Fair question. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I do not play one on YouTube, so I don't know. Right? But you, again, it just, when you're stuck with someone for the rest of your life, you may forgive them for certain things, but again, yeah, some people say, well, that's those behaviors is not something you forgive, right? I get that part. So I think what she's about to go into, it's what's driving a lot of this narrative online about, when I even thought about like the story of how I thought about it was supposed to be this huge freak off. So I think this is where she's about to go. Again, I do not know, right? But that's what I assume.
Ended up getting served that night. Let me just say it. I did. Okay.
What, she got sued by served by papers because it looks like she's always being lawsuit, or she got the stick?
While we're in Reno, we get a phone call that former basketball girlfriend is at the house and she's playing with our kids. We thought that was a little strange, but he said that she was crazy and that she was just trying to get him back. That same narrative. Of course,
from a former basketball friend wife? What?
I didn't believe it, but go off. When we returned back from Reno, I'm basically being sold a Disney movie plot. Now, I just didn't know that it was going to end up being Bambi. Well, I'm being
the shade
asked to move in, be his matriarch, and telling me that he's going to get our son a personal trainer. He's going to get me another dance studio. He's saying that he knows Tyler Perry and can introduce me and get me in movies. And y'all, you have to remember that at this point, I am waving my surrender flag. I'm listening to all of these things, and because I have...
Well, this is where this is going to be an uncomfortable conversation. When she was 23, I get it. 24, I get it. 25. This is not 2020. That means a lot of things has happened since then, but also watching this makes me feel like she really wants to be that number one. She wanted to be the one and only. I got that, right? But he's not the guy for it. He's not the guy for it, and I still feel like she's fighting for that, right? But I don't know. Let me reserve what I'm gonna say, and let's move forward a little bit.
I've lost in court so many times. I am honestly willing to fall.
Yes, Sassy Girl, this is a Stockholm syndrome, right? Stockholm syndrome is when people literally fall in love like with a captive, all right? Someone that let's say for a kidnapping case, someone kidnaps someone, and all of a sudden now the person that is being kidnapped is starting to like ration with the person that kidnapped them, trying to say, like, for example, like, oh, he's not such a bad person. It's just people don't understand him, and literally starting to see the world through the person that kind of like restricted their world, right? Their world, right? So it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So maybe that's what she's going through, but I feel like with her, I don't really sense that. I sense more of like, this is someone who really felt like she's the first person to give birth to his child, right? So she feels like you could just, I don't know, I feel like she still has this like burning rage for him. That's why she still continues to shade all the other women, right? And she still has this thing that like she wish she was just number one. That's what I'm getting from her, right? That's what I'm really getting from her.
Into submission so my son can fly to success.
It's like to submission. It's why I'm starting to like have critique a little bit certain things. Like at this point, though, like you would think she will. Again, let me reserve it. Let's see what she's gonna say.
I don't regret doing that. I don't regret following what my heart felt to be true.
Exactly what I thought. She's following her heart. She's still there with him. She still wants to be the number one, and I don't think she realized that he's not that guy for it.
This time we are also taking family trips to the grocery store, to the park, to the sex store, And one day he decides that he wants to have a meeting with myself and mama number 4. He proceeds to basically try to sell us a polyamorous relationship. This was suggested by his guru. Well, mama number...
I think I heard about this. I heard about this.
4 ended up leaving immediately. I think she stayed maybe 2 more days.
And this is what I'm talking about. Why I feel like she still wants that connection, right? Notice how the other woman, the mama number 4, the shade as she throwing, right? Notice how she's like, nah, I'm not about that life. You see that? That's someone who knows what they want, who's still like, when it comes to Dwight Howard, she's like, no, like there's certain things I will tolerate. I feel like with her, she's still deeply in love with him, so deeply in love with him. And she would never understand that in this lifetime, he has made a decision to say, you will never be my only one. I don't think she knows that. In this lifetime, he has made that decision that she would never, ever be his only one. Sucks, but
and she
that's
was
his
gone.
life.
She packed up her shit and
See?
she left.
See?
Me, I laughed it off because did you really think that this was gonna work? I don't even go that way. I don't lick marbles.
See what I'm saying? It's a shade, but oh man, see, okay. Why did I have to pause it here?
Oh, let me also say that baby number 5 and his grandmother are now in Georgia as well. He has now flown them into Georgia so he can spend time with his siblings.
Maybe that's why he wanted to start that kind of relationship, so you can have one big house of like everyone helping everyone out, right? What do you think?
A little while after mama number 4 left, I went home because I wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with my mother. While I'm there, I'm getting text messages. I mean, love bombed, y'all. Again, I can post them again if I need to. But it's a bunch of I miss yous. It's I don't want to say it, but I love you. And then he pretended like he was texting a friend of his.
And this is what I don't understand, though. Like, why is she trying to convince us or even threaten him like, I'm gonna post it? Yet we know he fancy you. That's why he has a child with you in some kind of capacity, right? You know he's like, he fancy you that kind of way. But the thing is that he doesn't see you as the only one. He would never see her as the only one, right? But it goes back to what I'm saying. Like, she's still, it's not Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to her. It's just like, she's like a teenager in love and not wanting to accept the fact that like, hey, this person doesn't really like you as how you like them. And she hasn't really accept that. Because she's talking about this, oh, I'm going to post this. Yeah, we know, like, he's a guy. He's going to tell you whatever he's going to, like, you feel you want to hear, right? And he did that. But the thing is, at this time in 2020, he's been doing that how many years? And it looks like you said you've caught on, but have you really caught up?
And was like, man, I can't believe how much I miss Royce. Okay. We still doing them little high school games, but that's what he was doing.
You see, I just talked about high school. See what I'm saying?
And he was begging me to come back sooner than I planned. And what did I do? I left the next day. When I get back to Georgia, I am then seeing articles about how distraught he's been, how he's been crying himself to sleep, how the feeling of mama number 5 never coming back has really torn him up. And I'm confused because I had no idea that he was going through these feelings. I then befriended the groundskeeper because the groundskeeper knew mama number 5 very well. He proceeds to tell me that their relationship was actually pretty volatile, that they were in a court battle, that until recently there was no communication.
And this is what I'm talking about with her. Let's let this play. Yeah. Adios mios. Adios mios.
He also let me know that when she was pregnant and when she had the child, she was forced to sleep on an air mattress, and he would put her in a motel so people wouldn't.
Well, you can that can still happen, but also he can still miss her. Like, it's different when you're fighting than like completely she's gone. There's a child left over, right? And maybe that's why he decided to like change his life. It's like, hey, listen, look how I treated her on her last day on this earth. I need to change, right? So it's not really telling me too much besides the fact like, hey, like maybe he is having some kind of self-reflection as realize that his behavior is unacceptable, right? I'm not saying his behavior got her to the underworld or to the other world, right? I would just say like maybe he's learned that, hey, that's not unacceptable because of the fact that like the last thing she experienced was like kind of like going this volatile relationship with him. So it just makes me actually feel like maybe he is learning though, the way I got this story.
Know who she was or who the baby was.
But I feel like she's telling the story because again, she's trying to like, I don't know. She's trying to put herself in a very weird position of like being like the hero. I don't know. It's kind of weird. That's what I'm getting from this.
I was also made aware that he and
Sassy Girl says she knew, she just didn't want to acknowledge it. Now I'm listening to her more. Yeah, let me just play because this little. It's in the beginning it was different. I feel like there's an energy shift. There's something else going on now.
in fact did not pay for the funeral costs as he told Mama Number Five's family he would do. I started acting different, so he allowed me to invite a few friends over, and we swam in the pool, we had seafood, we watched movies, and we played games. After that, I woke up in hell. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2000.
Okay. Very interesting how it ended. It ended like a book. Pay attention to that. It ended like a book. Okay, I'm using her content, so I'm gonna be nice. It ended like a book. After that, it ended up in hell. I end up in hell. So let's continue to number 8. I was gonna stop at 7. I was gonna say, okay, let's give it a rest, but it looks like she has been going. Okay, so we're gonna do 8, and the final chapter 9. Interesting. So missing parts. So maybe we're going to continue some missing parts later, okay? Let's do 8 and 9, okay?
Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004, up until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman, part 8. We are still in May of 2020, and they are shooting something called Celebrity Peep Show at his house, in which our son is involved. Well, after a couple days, I have a migraine, and I decide to take a midday nap. When I wake up from that midday nap, I will go outside the guest house, and it's beautiful outside. It's like a bluish orange, there's fireflies, but I see a bunch of cars and people everywhere. I'm wondering what the fuck is going on. We're supposed to be on quarantine. I see a familiar face, and I can clearly tell that he is on something. And then I see Superman. I see Superman throwing up over the balcony. I go up to Superman and I'm asking him what the fuck is going on. And he looks at me crazy and he starts yelling at me. The familiar face then goes off on him and calls him a bitch. They start arguing. I'm asking where our son is. He's not responding. I go inside. When I go inside, not only do I see a table full of mushrooms and peanut butter, I also see powder and a woman peeing in a seat.
Okay. Sassy Girl. I think Sassy Girl says, good question. Sassy Girl says, that's why I said if she's going to write a book or does she plan to write one. I think she's going to sue. I think she's going to do both a little bit, actually. I think the way it's kind of like the way she plays certain people in certain places. It's kind of like gearing up for a suit. Like she knew when she did this, right? He's going to like do his normal move of trying to sue her or trying to silence her. And I think she wants us to be like have the public know about this. And then when she finally hit him with a lawsuit, it's gonna like cause a scene, right? And I also believe too, she's also lining up to do her book, the way it's kind of written. And so she realized that she has a little bit of time and she's kind of like show him off, okay? But that's what I believe. It's probably both. But I definitely believe a lawsuit is probably coming because he's doing his regular move of trying to silence her now, and she already have it out there. Look at it. Like, she already have it out there. It's still there. So people like myself can do commentary on it. So more eyes can be on it, right? And so the next thing, like, he's going to sue, and boom, she's going to, like, basically trying to do a counter or do something to kind of like, oh, definitely write a book or definitely bring more audience, right? Because if it drags out, right, she's going to try to get a book deal, right? And this is the best time to kind of do so now in this kind of environment, right? Again, I'm talking about business sense. It's not, I was not there. If I was him, I think his strategy is totally different. Maybe we can talk about it in a different video. His strategy should be literally, before he does some like lawsuit, he should definitely drop some receipt. Do one of her numbers. Explain, show the receipt that he has. Release some court documents so we can see that. And then try to like... Because I know if he tried to go straight to the laws, like what he's doing right now, some people are going to say he's trying to silence her. He doesn't want her to speak. So it's very important for the court of public opinion that he actually goes out of his norm of like just trying to bring it to court. Because some people consider that being an adult, but we know on social media that's not being an adult. It's like basically saying him trying to go through legal means. It's like he's trying to silence her. He doesn't want her to talk. He's trying to silence a woman. So that's how it may come off as. So it's important that he plays that social media game by literally showing us some receipt of what previously has happened that she is alleged to say, hey, this is the receipt for it. I hope that covers like some of the things that you mentioned in your statement. So let's continue on, okay?
I immediately get scared and I run upstairs. I am looking for my son. I'm yelling his name. He's hiding. I see my son hugging his knees in the corner of his room. I ask him if he is okay. He says that he's fine and that he's just scared. I asked him, scared of what? He said, why is Daddy acting like that? I said, well, what do you mean? He was like, I was just hungry. I then asked my baby if he had been downstairs. And at first he didn't want to tell me.
So this information now, it looks like it's showing that like he's being irresponsible around the kids too. So this is very important. That's why I said like, yeah, you're right, Sassy Girl. Maybe there's a book coming up too, but definitely a lawsuit is being prepped up from this. That's what I'm getting. Like putting the child in danger. That's what it's showing. Like, do you have women downstairs urinating on the couch? You have someone kind of throwing up from like drug use, etc. Like, yeah, it's a little messy, very, very messy.
I asked him several times and I said, it's okay, I promise.
Not the messy like teeth stuff, but like not good.
It's okay. And he tells me that he went downstairs, but he was just hungry. I then asked him if he ate anything off of that table. I asked him over and over again. He said no. I grabbed my child, I went downstairs, and I went out the front door, back to the guest house, back to my room. The next day, I go outside to walk my dogs, and I see an argument. This is an argument between his guru and a friend of his named Callie. I am hearing Callie threaten this guru about trying him in an inappropriate way, and that he is going to shoot and kill him. He is going to come back and shoot up the entire house. I, of course, then go back upstairs and I text the groundskeeper and
So now you have drugs. Now you also have the threat of pow pow around her children. You see that? So again, I was not there. That's why it's very important. I feel like whatever his strategy is, he needs to drop some receipt of some of the allegations she's making, because if it goes to court, I feel like it's going to be a settlement. It's not because he's wrong. It's just the fact of like, what has been alleged right now, if some of it is true, let's say some of it is not true, it's going to look crazy on him. Okay, so I feel like with someone like him, with that kind of like money he has, probably definitely going to be a settlement. So she's literally, maybe this is her way of like getting her messages out there before a settlement is reached, before he tried to silence her again. So I don't know. So we're going to see how this goes.
I asked, what the hell is going on? Mind you, that particular night, the groundskeeper was minding his business as well as the nanny because they were off the clock.
Sassy Girl said, I'm happy you decided to cover it because I definitely did not know about all of this, right? Mamma mia. Absolutely. I did not okay, yes, know about all of this. So yes, Sassy Girl, yeah, absolutely. Initially, like I said yesterday, I think 2 days now, right? Is I was just like, I'm not interested in it because what I heard was more like salacious stuff and like orgies. Because I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good, but like that's normal stuff right now. But some of the things she's saying is like it's a very interesting take because I went through a bunch of different emotions, right? And it's also we live in a different time, so it's also important that like I take this in. And someone kind of like told me like I always said I'm gonna do something when it comes to like this content creative stuff, and when I don't like something I don't cover it, right? But for me to like to get out of the habit and just like cover like current event, I must do things that some stories that I may not kind of think I'm gonna enjoy, but with this one I end up like finding it very fascinating. So it's a good thing though, like to challenge yourself sometimes, okay? And do something when, even though you think you're not gonna like it. But I really did like get a lot of different experience like watching this.
Well, I'm expressing to the groundskeeper what was being said, and as I'm stating this to him, we're looking outside and we start seeing.
Is this rich people like way of saying a maid, a groundskeeper? Is that like an estate like keeper? Is this like a rich language I don't know anything of? I'm curious about that. What is a groundskeeper?
Police cars drive by. I pretty much freak out and I start running around the entire property picking up paraphernalia. Because who finna go to jail? Not me.
Oh, come on. We're talking about a very big estate. I'm pretty sure he's not living in an apartment or he's living in a very small estate. So that's a little bit that's a little bit weird for me. You're talking about, she said how beautiful the house was, and I'm pretty sure the house is probably not even close to a road, or if it's close to a road, it's probably like a long, I don't know. I don't know what the house looked like, but I'm pretty sure. Well, let's carry forward.
Well, I'm being told that I'm doing too much. Then Callie starts posting.
She didn't say that she did any drugs, right? Am I missing something? She didn't say she did any drugs, so that's just again, if I'm missing it, just let me know in the comment section.
YouTube videos. Callie is recounting the entire evening. He is also stating that one of the moms was there with her kid. But Callie is talking about how he was tried inappropriately and all the different walks.
Whoa, who is this Callie person? We need to find that person. I need to find that video and do some commentary on that. Okay, so I need to do commentary on
of life that were in the house that evening. Once the YouTube video is shown to Superman, he brushes it off like it's nothing.
Oh, I did hear someone say like that person she spoke of had a different just a different like view on what exactly occurred that day. So I want to track that back.
Ends up happening, Callie is now banned from YouTube and he's also in Facebook jail. Soon after that, I get into a blowout argument with Superman. I am discussing the situation with this party. I'm discussing how he is with homeschooling and our child. I'm discussing his recklessness, and he just does not want to hear it. We are arguing, up and down. He's bringing stuff up from the past, and the trainer is there to mediate. The trainer is trying to calm him down. It is not working. There is a moment that you see in a...
So what exactly did it bring up about her past? That's what I'd like to know. Because so far, it looks like she didn't do anything. And this is why, as humans, we always see ourselves as the hero in everything. That's why some of us have this lack of like self-reflection, right? Because... yeah, I don't, because I am curious to know what exactly he brought up about her past or his experience with her.
Person's eyes when you know that you got them fucked up. I saw that moment and I knew that night was an...
Okay, got it. Okay, Sassy Girl said the groundskeeper take care of the lawn, right? The rich folks' money. Okay, got it. That's what I thought too, a little bit. Groundskeeper, yeah, okay, got it. So gardener, got it. Okay. Makes sense.
Night that I needed to go home, or I at least needed to get off that property. So what I did was we packed up all of our stuff in our zoo. I then went and got Braylon out of the main house. And I begged for that trainer to let me out. And at 3:30 in the morning, he let me out. So I head to the Airbnb and
This has nothing to do with her video, but I'm going to say this. Again, this is my YouTube channel. I'm going to tell people how I feel. You can tell me if I'm wrong or right. She has a very hypnotic, like hypnotic. Oh my God, I can't even speak right now. I'm very tired right now. It's very late at nighttime. She has a very hypnotic kind of like stare. How she look at the camera, right? It's very, it looks like she like for someone who's not like, I'm not sure if she's a YouTuber. She's like, or how much she like does like, okay. Then she's been on television. So I take that back. She has a very interesting stare that she's trying to like hypnotize you when she looks at you. The reason why, if you look at a lot of gurus, right, that like practice hypnotics, right? Oh my God, I cannot speak right now. I'm so tired. I'm really tired right now. But if you look at her stare, right, she has this like, she's barely blinking. Have you paid attention to it? Sassy girl, have you paid attention to that she's barely blinking? Like, just pay attention to that. Just the way she looks at you, just kind of stare right through the lens, right? It has a very like a guru, like one of those like those guru kind of stare. It's like the eye contact, the barely blinking kind of stare, trying to it's kind of put you like in a hypnotic like kind of state.
I get a message that I can no longer check in early. I then have to call the trainer back. And he states that because there's nowhere place safe really for me to just sit in a car for hours in that part of Georgia with a child, a car full of stuff, and animals to come back. So I went back. But I was told to hide around the corner to where he could not see my car. He was now assuming that I was gone. I did just that. And once I was able to check into the Airbnb, I sent a text, and so did the trainer. And when Superman was gone, I escaped. I stayed in an Airbnb for a couple of weeks, and I actually spent time with Jennifer Williams and Royce Morgan. Love y'all. They actually kept my head together. I'm forever grateful. When I started heading home, I called my family, I called my friends, called my attorney, and I called mama number 2. I told her what I had just done, and she, of course, was like, girl, how crazy are you? You stupid. Like, how'd you fall for that? Don't ever do no dumb shit like that again. And she was absolutely right. When I got home, I received a phone call from grandma of baby number 5, and she was asking me when I was going back. I told her I was not. I expressed to her my concerns, and she said that she was supposed to be going for Father's Day. I said, I would tell you not to go. And she's like, oh, well, I think it'll be okay. Well, grandma takes baby number 5 to Georgia for Father's Day. She is later kicked out of the house with guard dogs on the floor. And she did not see her grandchild for months. That is how he took custody of baby number 5 from his grandmother, who helped raise him.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's more to the story. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to that story. But to be fair, he has full rights to that child because the mom passed away. So he has sole custody of that child. And this is what I'm saying, like with her story a little bit, like it scares me like she's going this direction a little bit because she's putting herself in every situation without fully giving us the full background. The child mom passed away. He is now the sole he is now like has a sole custody of that child. So going to grandma to live there is just like a bonus for grandma. But at the end of the day, right, he is the sole custody. So just my thought on that. So I'd like
when
to
his father
know more
hadn't
about
been in
that.
his life pretty much ever. I later learned that the plan was for me to stay in Georgia for an extended period of time so he could claim residency over our son and later kick me out of the house. He had asked me what my bills were, and he was talking about ending child support, and whatever my bills were, he was going to subtract that from what he gave me. I almost fell for it. I didn't, but somebody else did. What happened next is not my story to tell, but it turned my world upside down. I struggled for 2.5 years with suicidal thoughts and a lot of self-blame. I'd also shut down my dance company and stated it was because I didn't enjoy teaching anymore, when in fact it was because I knew I needed to get my shit together. I then landed a job at an HBCU. I was proud of myself. It was a job that I enjoyed and that I really put my heart and soul into. I fought.
Yeah, she's definitely going to try to sue. She's going to try to sue him. I think she's definitely trying to, the more I hear this, the more I feel like she's definitely trying to get a public, she's trying to cater to the public opinion first. The court of public opinion is very important to her. And I feel that's what she's trying to convey. Right? A lot of the stuff now, because some things I just feel like there's so many loopholes, there's so many things doesn't kind of make sense to me. But overall, some of the things she was saying earlier in different part of the story, I do believe that, because I'm starting to lean towards that a little bit more, because she's putting people there. Like the abuse that she said she went through, except that person said that never happened, right? But the fact that she placed someone there it's fascinating. Okay.
For that team every single day. And it kept my mind off of other things. In 2023, I attended the NAACP Awards. As I looked around, I saw all of these people that I looked up to and wanted so much to be like. I was amongst greatness. I realized at that moment that it was time to take my power back. I did the Heat Dancer reunion. I made amends with Tracy. We had a splash bash. We released lanterns for remembrance as well as emotional purges.
I'm also going to do a video, do a summary of her time in Basketball Wives. And let's see just how she was at that time. Because I've never watched her before, so.
I was doing well. In July, an accusation comes out about my child's father. In September, I do an interview with Carlos King. I then do another interview with Vlad TV. Followed by that.
I'm going to watch those. So we should probably get those. We should probably watch those probably sometime next week.
That was then an admission of what the accusation was. And like May said, I agreed with him when he said it's never consensual when it's a surprise. Well, 2024, I posted a reel and recounting 2023 and how excited I was. And I'm still not getting any child support, but I'm trying to make do. I'm using my savings because this can't continue to go on forever. My savings is now being drained, and I'm offered a Basketball Wives contract. After talking it over with my attorney, they think that it's a good idea for me to take it. Yes, the person who said I would never go back to that show, I was going to go back. So Superman #1 was correct when he said somebody needs money. Well, yeah, because your predecessor ain't shit. Hey y'all, it's Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st.
Okay, so that's part 8. Part 8 is done. This is the final chapter. I have lots of mixed feelings. I may have to watch it again, but before I can give some more assessment, okay? But right now, let's finish the final chapter, okay? There's more videos she have, right? And we're definitely going to cover that tomorrow. But as of right now, so let's go over the final chapter, okay? So part 9, the final chapter. Let's go.
This is Royce, and I'm here to tell you a story about how my life changed beginning July 31st, 2004 until even now, all because I had a baby by Superman. Part 9, the final chapter. As I stated before, I agreed to take the $113K because I figured I would be able to flip the money that I was receiving from the Basketball Wives contract. I had also received a contract for an artist development company in New York, and I just felt like I was good. I also still had my job at the HBCU. Well, shortly after, I am headed to the airport. I get there, I check in, I go through TSA. I have my cat with me. When I get to the gate, I go to the gate and I just want to make sure that everything is okay with me and my pet. He says, I just sold your ticket. I asked him why, and he said someone refunded it. I get on the phone, and that is how I found out that they had canceled my Basketball Wives contract. I'm not saying he had anything to do with it, but that's what happened. Later on in 2024, I was fired from my HBCU job. I was actually fired during the same week that my father had a heart attack. I was then blasted on the internet, called...
Sorry about that. And maybe that's why... Is her dad still alive? I have to check on that. Maybe that's why she's probably like saying all this stuff now. It's just she feels like maybe she's having some kind of like life crisis. So she feels like she's just going to get all this stuff out. So there could be some kind of like life crisis she's going through. It just makes her feel like it's better now than never.
Names and harassed by some of my former athletes, and I remained quiet. I watched them belittle and degrade me and realized that no matter how much I fought for those athletes and what I brought to that program, the culture of this generation has changed. Over the past couple of months, Superman has been harassing our son. He's also been harassing the school. He's been calling our son names and dehumanizing me. I told our son to go to California and support him on a TV show, despite the fact that he did not want to go. I said, make it more about the opportunity than the visit. Enjoy your siblings. He still had no desire to go, and even after speaking to both sets of his grandparents, Superman again and Mama number 2, he said no. I still talked him into going. Over the past couple days, Superman has decided to harass our son again. I am listening to my child laughing and joking while playing PlayStation, only to then it turn into yelling and, yes, cursing. I walk into the room and I realize that he is talking to Superman. Superman is dehumanizing me. Superman is calling me broke. Superman is basically expressing to my child.
What? Calling you broke is not dehumanizing, you know. Well, for someone who makes, again, please do not conflict like some of her experience you had with him, right? But calling her broke, maybe the guy earned more than $100 millions in the NBA, right? To him, like the rest of us are just like mere brokies, right? But like, that's not dehumanizing you. But whatever. That kind of woke me up.
That I am a deadbeat mother. He says, your mom needs to get a job. Well, just so you know, I did restart my company. I also sub at schools. I also teach gymnastics after school. And I do teach private lessons. I'm pretty much like a Jamaican. I had plenty jobs.
I'm telling you. She would have been good in the T sector, man. She has shades, man. She has shade. She said, I'm just like a Jamaican. I got plenty jobs. Okay. Well, she's like just like a normal working American, man. Like having multiple jobs to survive. But again, I think she's ready to sue him. She's going ready to sue him, man. Because I don't know. I feel like she's in a very weird space in her life. And she's mentioned something about her dad. And I feel like some of the things that she felt like she was done unjust, right? I think she's going to try and like take all that anger out on him right now. But again, I'm not saying some of the things that she alleged about him doing some criminal act to her. I'm not saying she's lying about that, so I don't know, okay? But I'm only responding to this, her saying right now she's like just like a Jamaican, she has multiple jobs, and he's dehumanizing her by telling her she's a brokey. Like, for someone like him, an NBA player that have all these millions of dollars, we all brokies, okay?
One thing you won't do is break me. So as you sit here and you decide that you want to rewrite history, I think it's one thing that is important to know. I am the one with the paperwork. I am the one with all the phones.
Oh Lord, she's basically saying you better settle. You better settle. I'm not playing with you. Maybe that's why she hasn't showed us certain receipts, is because she's ready to like take those to court. So
I have told you to leave me the fuck alone. As we go into 2025, my prayer for you is not blessings. It's hell. Happy New Year. Oh, and Tiffany's story coming soon, 2025. That's mama number 2. Bye. Hey, y'all.
Oh my God, what was that? I don't know. I have to take all this stuff in. I have to take this in. I am not sure how to feel about the whole thing. I have to like listen to this again. And I know some few things have like has been I've came out since she told us the last story. And let's see. So this is the final chapter, and she's had few other chapters ever since then. And anyway, we're gonna get to that. But thanks for stopping by tonight. That was good. I had fun. How long have we been up for? It doesn't tell me. Oh, 2 hours, 30 minutes. Not bad. Sassy, amazing. Thank you to my moderator. Thanks for holding it down. And I look forward to this tomorrow. Okay, I had fun, and have a good night. And I'm gonna see you. The next live. Please hit the like, please, and subscribe. Okay, and that's the best thing you can do to support this channel. Okay, you just hit the like and also subscribe. Okay, see you on my next live, and see.